toys, it's all about the packaging art. Yes, you have the option to tear it open. You have the option to keep it sealed and display it that way. What's the best way to enjoy it? Well, that's what we're here to talk about today. So I'd like to start off this stream by welcoming everyone to the second stream of Easter long weekend, because you can't keep a good stream down and a good stream topic like the one we've got today. You all saw me on Easter Friday, or at least some of you did, and when we talked about, what was it? The different rabbit holes in collecting. So we had a Good Friday stream and an Easter Sunday stream. So let's have this conversation. And I got a couple of friends waiting backstage, and they're going to weigh in on this exact same topic. They both got different styles of collecting. They both collect different brands. So, and what do you call it? At least one of them is here for the very, very first time. But if you check the YouTube, my recommended channels tab, you will see the channel that he co-hosts on there, and that is the Toy Kinda Mood YouTube channel. So welcome for the first time, Bobby from Toy Kinda Mood.
Hello, Ken.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm really excited to be on here.
You know, it's interesting because I've literally had all your co-hosts except for you on here, and that wasn't by design. Like, I had Travis on when we had Gridiron Studios on. You see Ryan Sweeney on here a lot. You see KJ on. I know Tony Romo's kind of a guest host, but we've had him on as well. So it's an interesting thing where it's like, I haven't asked Bobby to come on yet. And
even KJ was like, have you been on Ken's show? I'm like, I haven't.
And what happened was, when I got the cameo on the stream that you did about Ramen Toy a couple of weeks back, that's when I was like, okay, we've now connected. Let's get you on here and let's have this. Let's have a real conversation about this. And your co-host said that this was a good topic for you.
Yes.
So you know what? But you know who else it's a good topic for is our other guest panelist today, who he's been on here once before, and we were both on Ed's Retro Geek Out last year, which is where we met, and he's got an amazing Ninja Turtles collection, both carded and loose. Taking a day off from his day job in the Navy, I guess. Robert from Shellback Toy Rewind. Welcome back, my friend.
Hey, how's it going, Ken? How's it going? How you doing? Thanks for having me back. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so we've streamed before when you've had the wall of Technodromes behind you, and now we're streaming today with the wall of carded turtles behind you. So I really want to hear what you got to say on this particular topic about loose versus boxed, or carded versus open, depending on how you want to contextualize this particular stream. And I was saying to Bobby that the channel he helps host has grown quite a bit in the time that I've known him, but so is yours. Like, your subs have basically tripled since we met. So
yeah, slow but sure. YouTube, it's takes a little bit of time to get the momentum going, but you just gotta get that content out there, which I've been a little lacking here lately, but I got some ideas coming down the pipeline, and gonna get back on track here. And my subs have gone up, and so everything's looking good.
Well, you know what? I have seen your collection in the past, like when you did a collection tour, and you've got variants, you've got some of the rarer stuff. Like, I thought I saw a hotspot in your collection. I can't remember if you have a scratch or not.
I do.
You've got scratch. Okay, so there we go. It was like a while ago when I saw your collection tour, but I thought to myself, this guy's got carded, this guy's got vintage, he's got some modern. We can have this conversation. But yeah, well, you know what? I'm just gonna start off the stream with a very loaded question. Okay, you go into a toy show, all right, and there's a lot of stuff in there, carded, loose, whatever. All right, so I'll pull this up on camera because I just happen to show, because I happen to be in an A-team kind of mood right now. All right, I know the loose Mr. T is not complete, but let's say he is. You go to a booth, or you go to a show. You got the loose Mr. T for 45, we'll say American dollars. You got the carded one, and I know the card's kind of cut off, like you don't see it, but it's there. It's a good condition. $45 for the loose one, complete, or $120 for the carded one. What choice do you make? And say you've got budget. Bobby, what do you do in this case?
Oh, for something, if I got the budget, I'm gonna go in box. If I got the budget, I'm gonna go in box. If I got the budget, I'm gonna go in box. If I got the budget, I'm gonna go in box. If I got the budget, I'm gonna go in box. If I got the budget, I'm gonna go in box. If I got the budget, I'm gonna go in box. If I got the budget, I'm gonna go in box. If I got the budget, I'm gonna go in box. If I got the budget, I'm gonna go in box. If I got the budget, I'm gonna go in box. If I got the budget, I'm gonna go in box. If I got the budget, I'm gonna go in box. If I got the budget, I'm gonna go in box. If I got the budget, I'm gonna go in box. If I got the budget, I'm gonna go in box. If I got the budget, I'm gonna go in box. If I got the budget, I'm gonna go in box. If I got the budget, I'm gonna go in box. If I got the budget, I'm gonna go in box. If I got the budget, I'm gonna go in box. If I got the budget, I'm gonna go in box. If I got the budget, I'm gonna just because for me, when it comes to classic figures like that, I do love that old artwork.
All right.
And so it comes down now. If I have and this is where it can it can kind of get like that, like the math in your head is do I want to get the rest of the 18 in card, or do I have them loose? Like that's where all of it comes into play. But I'm going inbox. And what's up, Tony? Happy Easter.
Yeah.
I'm going inbox.
Well, okay, you're going in box. Shellback Toy Rewind. I know you don't collect A-Team stuff, but you probably remember the TV series to some extent.
I was actually watching it the other day.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
What do you do?
So for me personally, I'm an opportunist, right? So whatever I see as the better deal, I'm most likely going to go for that. But if I have the funds, I am going to go for inbox. I like to have my carded figures, like we've talked about in the past, is the artwork is everything, especially for Ninja Turtle stuff. I mean, their artwork is, amazing. But again, whether I'm on, Macari or out in the wild, it's, if I spot a good deal, then it's a good deal, and I jump on it. But obviously, if I got the choice, I would like to have it in box. But also, it depends on the line. I mean, it depends on my connection to that line. Like if it's I always go back to Ninja Turtles because that's what I collect. But
no, that's fine. That's what I expected. So yeah.
If it's the mutating ones, I'm fine with those loose. I don't have to have those carded because I'm not the biggest mutation fan. So loose is fine. But if it's like, say, the original, or like the Toon line, I mean? I like to have, the whole Toon line all on card just because I really like those ones, So it all just, all goes into, a lot goes into it, I should say. So.
Fair enough. And if you have a photo on your computer or whatever device you're on of your Turtles collection that you want to upload and present screen and show off, feel free to do so. Yeah, I mean, for me, again, the story behind this is just last week's toy show. The carded one came in an acrylic case, and it was a really good price, so I grabbed it. But I previously had a loose one. But I also wouldn't. I'm not at this point not tempted to grab the whole A-Team in carded. I'd like to get them all loose. Having said that, I know that same seller has a carded acrylic case Hannibal, and I've been thinking about it because if it's not Mr. T, it's Hannibal. Yep. But if you get Face, you probably got to get Murdoch as well. That's kind of how it is. Like, there's no 3 out of 4. It's 1 or it's 4. You might get away with 2 because of George Papard and Mr. T. But anyway, yeah. So okay, there's the loaded question. And if anybody in the chat wants to weigh in on that, would you go loose or carded? But I think most people here are going to go with the loose example, or at least that's what they've said. Anyway. And yes, Ramen Toy, I agree. You need the van. But let's say a quick hello to the chat now that people have kind of started to file in here, and then we'll get going with the rest of our conversation. But I thought I'd start us off with that icebreaker. So yeah, all right. Yeah, Largo's Lair, Ramen Toy, Brick Something, Ratface44, TJC. We got our moderator Gazz. We got Wilhelm Toy and Hobby. Shellback pulling double duty. Did I say hi to Ramen Toy already? If I did, I'll say hi again. We got Anthony, Romo, and Hannibal loves the jazz, apparently. So there we go. And he loves it when a plan comes together, apparently. So. All right. Cool. Oh, we got Redfin01 just filed in, and a few people I know. A lot of people get the notification late. I'm not 100% sure why that is, but a lot of times I get people saying, yeah, I got the notification and you were 30 minutes in already. I'm like, all right, sorry about that, but it's kind of how it is. Well, what I'll do is I'll go around the table again now that we've finished our icebreaker. Everyone says open your figures. Actually, no, I'm going to go to a different question. When do you go carded? When do you go open? And I know you've both already touched a little bit on this, but I'll go counterclockwise this time. When do you go carded? When do you go open? Robert from Shellback Toy Rewind. What are you thinking, buddy?
Well, again, it kind of depends on the figure. If it's a expensive figure, and I, paid money to have it on card, then I'm gonna keep it on card. But and also depends on the deal. You know what I mean? If I got it for a steal and it's like kind of like whatever, you know what I mean? No big deal. I'll open it up and have it on display so I can, look at it, film with it, show it off, in different ways, and display it, with the rest of my figures. So again, it all just kind of depends. But me personally, like I said before, I like a good carded figure. So,
and you like a good deal, so
I do like the deals. You know what I mean?
So that's what I meant.
Nowadays.
Yeah. Like when I said I think we've already answered part of the question, you brought that up as well. It's like you can impulse buy a good deal, I guess is what you were trying to say there, right? Like,
yeah.
Is you could find a loose figure and then you find a box one for the same price, right? And I know for modern figures you can kind of get away with it because people might get rid of the packaging anyway. But when I see a vintage figure, then I see a box one for the same price, I kind of look at the sellers and I go, "What are you doing? What are you doing?"
Yeah, so, that is true too. It kind of depends on vintage or new toys. If it's a new toy, I'll just rip it open. I don't even think twice about it.
And Shellback, don't you live near the Frankenson show? Is that you or? Yeah,
about an hour away.
So you probably go there and then you'll be like, okay, carded whatever 88 Michelangelo, and it'll be a certain price, and somebody else will be selling the loose one for the same price, and that's a case where the card art is worth something. Right. So,
exactly. Yeah.
Right. I would understand like a Super 7 loose versus packaging because some people just say this is way too much packaging and they throw it away. I'm one of them. Right.
Yeah.
So, Bobby, what about you? When do you go carded? When do you go loose?
I mean, honestly, Robert was kind of, has my same thought as the fact that it depends on, the price, what you're getting and what you're doing with it. Like, okay, so like, we'll go with my masters here. Like, I got that He-Man classic already open like that for about $30 cheaper than what it goes for in the box when I got it. I couldn't pass the deal up. Like, that's an expensive effing figure. And then like this one came boxed, and I'm not gonna open this. Like, it's too cool like this. And it's one of those things where, like the art, the packaging is the art. Like, I've got Man-at-Arms open. I already have it. Like, I've got like one that's complete and one from when I was a kid. But like the original box art that's in there is similar to the Origins, but it's there's a little. Let me get this right. There's a little coloring difference, and so the only reason why that's and then once again also like, if you're trying to go a whole collection, like, you'll kind of keep it in the box. And then this one is signed by Alan Oppenheimer, i.e. the voice of Skeletor. So that's one of the other reasons why I like to keep things in box, is that I'll get autographs on them. So,
and that's one angle that I didn't think of when I set up the stream, is I wasn't actually thinking about, you get one carded so that you can get it signed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got a few figures. I've got Bo-Katan signed by
Katie Sackhoff. I almost said Starbuck Kareth Race. I'm like, well, that's just another fictional character, right?
I've got Bo-Katan. I got Katie Sackhoff on her Bo-Katan figure. I've got Giancarlo Esposito on his Moff Gideon. That was a cool experience. And then Tony, like, here, let me, like, Tony's right about the new superpowers, but as I got these open because I got a package deal with them. Like, and then this is my Batmobile, but like, this is why I do sometimes like, open is really cool. But if I had these in box, they would not be open because like that superpowers card is beautiful to look at.
Fair enough. Yeah. And is that a Hot Toys Captain America behind you?
Yes. So I've got 3 of the Hot Toys Captain America. I've got Winter Soldier, Civil War, and Endgame, and then That is the Marvel Legends 12-inch cap. I've got Marvel did back in the early 2000s like 12-inch figures, and I've got Ben Affleck's Daredevil. I had Punisher, and I sold them. And then I got this bad boy for my birthday from my wife. It's Raiders of the Lost Ark. The original Indy from '81, I believe. He's got his gun in his whip. The only thing that's missing is the hat. And then once again, it's one of those things where like in box, it's like $400, but we got them for for $60 at a toy store here in Houston. So yeah,
works out okay. Yeah. And thank you, Kayla Silva. Yes, smack that like, y'all. And I'd really like to hear Robert's thoughts on this as well. But while we're talking about when to go carded, when to not go carded, why don't you pull out that figure we were talking about just offline? And it's kind of like one of those anything you can do, I can do better kind of things.
Do you have it in? That's fine. I've got mine graded.
Yeah, I know. I've got mine just in an acrylic case. So hence, anything you can do, I can do better. Yours graded 7.5. You said
7.0.
7.0. Okay.
Yeah. Right. The box and this is on the top end of like the lower half. It's like 8 and 9, 10, and that's fine. I don't really care. Like I'm not going to sell this ever. But mainly just because there's a big crease along the back of it. But yeah, so's
mine. Big crease along the back. You can actually see.
Well, I mean, and you can kind of see it. But like. And this is one of the reasons why I got this graded was the fact that like when you look at it, like how a lot of figures have like that long like just piece of cardboard, which is cool for the artwork. That's beautiful, but that's gonna get bent and like folded over so many times. And then I do have text right here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's another one. Is the seller had a text hex for the same price as this? And I was like, well, do I need both, or do I buy Tex Hex loose and then buy a loose Marshall Brave Star? Because if I get Tex Hex, I'm going to want 3030. And then that same seller is going to suddenly have like a Master Splinter a year from now. Then I'm going to buy that. And then I'm going to be like, well, I need Shredder now too. And, and of course they had the Cobra Ferret in a box and it was in an acrylic case. And I'm like, okay, how deep down this rabbit hole am I going to go? Right.
Be careful.
It just does not.
Do you need to eat? Do you need to eat?
No, but I do need to drink coffee like you're doing right now. Shellback, you got a coffee for us, or are you?
I'm still waiting on my coffee. It's supposed to be arriving here shortly.
Oh, you get yours delivered? What the heck?
Well, in rare circumstances, yeah, I do. But
so my show is the rare circumstance. I love it.
Yep, absolutely.
I love how that worked out. So yeah, you folks in the chat are not helping at all. When in doubt, Jeff Morris, collect them all. Problem solved. Boba Hicks, all the way from Ireland. When in doubt, apparently collect them all. And I'm sitting there like, these topics I choose are almost like passive aggressive toy therapy.
They are.
Like when I did the rabbit holes and collecting a couple nights ago. Right, it's basically a toy therapy session for me, and everyone joked in the chat. They're like, another Ken toy therapy session. I just bring people on the screen that I can whine to, and then they share their experiences. Then I go, that's cool. I'm going to do that as well, and that didn't help my wallet, my funds, or anything like that. Because, I'll message Bobby in a few months' time, be like, I got this signed thing from Katie Sackhoff. All of a sudden, I'm like, where did that idea sort of pop into my head in a subliminal message kind of way? Right, or in a toy kind of mood kind of way. I should say
exactly. And that works too. Like if you can always open it, like that. Like I will never open. Like there are certain things I just will not open. Will not.
Yeah. On this topic, carded versus open. If it's a modern figure, I generally just open it. I rarely, if ever, leave one sealed. Like I think, like the carbonized Boba Fett was like one of the rare instances where I left it sealed, or like the Mandalorian with the child in a 2-pack was one of those rare instances where I left it sealed. But like when it comes to boxed stuff, if I am going to display a boxed item, I prefer it to be vintage. Right? That's why I like Shellback's wall back there and all the vintage stuff, because you only have so much space. So if you're going to display, I like the vintage card art, but that's not everybody, right? A lot of people love to display all their G.I. Joe classified stuff or their Super 7 or Thundercats a Super 7 TMNT and Turtles, or the X-Men retro stuff, right? You know, like Shellback knows, like you can buy a whole line of Super 7 TMNT and then take out the outer sleeve and put and just display it in that gorgeous packaging, right? But for me, it's just I very rarely will display something modern boxed. So
I just got done redoing my room, and I just got done taking all my Super 7s out, and they're all ready to go outside of the package, ready to be enjoyed and viewed. Like I said, if it's new, I'll take it out. But one other side that we haven't touched on is displaying the figures on those stands and having them get knocked down or knocked off every other day, potentially by children and dogs and stuff like that, resetting it all up. You know, that gets annoying after a while. You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean that's why I have these glass doors, but then I knock them over myself because I just keep saying to myself, they're not going to fall forward if the door's closed. So I'm just going to keep shoving stuff in and packing them together. Then the day comes, I got to make a video. And I go, okay, I got to get that video. And of course, all my G.I. Joes are in a row and they're all side by side and they're all like completely anti-social distanced. And I'm like, okay, so I got to grab whatever, like Silver Pads Grand Slam. And where's he going to be? The very back row, very back corner. And I'm going to be going like this and I'll knock 9 figures over on the way to grabbing him. I know that because I'm working on, or I've just finished filming History of G.I. Joe 1983, which, spoiler alert, that'll probably be my Cobra Convergence video. Only reason I didn't, Bobby, you're aware of Cobra Convergence, right? Yeah, and I think Shellback, you're not in the Joe community, so it's you probably haven't heard of it, but it's like a 30-day, I think 31, but I think Hooded Cobra Commander takes the 31st day. He's the host, where it's like 30 days of content creators, and they all host a video. So I finished filming History of G.I. Joe 1983, but I wasn't sure if it was going to be a Cobra Convergence video. Like I filmed it with Hans Chow, who was on this channel the other night, and I getting sidetracked on a story here. I'm kind of pulling if he's in the chat, he'll notice his passive aggressive swipe, but I'm pulling a Travis here. Anthony's probably laughing his head off right now too, but so I filmed it, and then I wasn't sure if I was going to use it for Cobra Convergence, but I realized I completely forgot to give a shout out to Cobra Convergence by saying like, and you can check out the other Cobra Convergence videos. And I talked to Hooded Cobra Commander. He's like, that's okay. You don't need to do that. I'm like, I'll just link something in the description when I air it. But it was because of that story that I was thinking I went to grab some of my 1983 figures, and some of them were in the very back row, and I had a hard time reaching in to get them. So yeah, it's bit of a sob story when you get stuff loose and you pack them all together. Gazz, thank you for the links. Gazz is always
Appreciate that.
Is always an all-star. I never Gazz is like, you know, we don't compare notes, or I don't necessarily tell him what to do, but anytime he's in the chat, he's always got our backs. Everyone on screen, he's always got our backs. Like just as responsible a moderator as you can expect. But
awesome. Appreciate that.
Yeah, and I know he's looking for the Toy Kind of Mood link right now, but both are in the description below anyway. So yeah. So I think I know the answer to this, but is there a place for vintage box art in the collection? Like if you've got a loose collection, how do you balance putting that vintage box art and the toy store feel around it? Shellback, you very clearly have a formula for this. So why don't you walk us through it?
Well, I basically set stuff up, and then I stand back and wait for my wife to come in and look at it, and let her evaluate my disaster and then place it for me. She's definitely the one that helps make everything look as presentable as possible. And as you can see, this is actually a sneak peek of my new setup that we just got done working on the last 2 days. So let me see if I can get out of the way here. Yeah. So yeah, I'll be doing a room tour video here and showing off the new Shell Shack. But yeah, that, you know, displaying the stuff. I mean, you got different height levels, and there's a lot that goes into it. You know, placing different, grouping things together. But yeah, the artwork definitely has a place. In the back of the case, with the smaller figures up front, or right here on the wall for everyone to enjoy.
I just love the wall that you've got there.
Mm-hmm.
So
It is nice.
Yeah.
Right, and the poster right in the middle. So, and I love the name, the Shell Shack.
Yeah, Shell Shack.
Right. So you've been shell shacked. I never actually. I don't remember them actually using it that phrase in the cartoon. I remember it from the Turtles arcade game when your character died. They'd say shell shock.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I don't actually recall them using it in the television series, but maybe they
Could
did.
have though.
Yeah. Bobby, what about you in terms of what do you do with vintage? I mean, obviously you get the case sign sometimes, but
Yeah, with vintage for me, it's kind of goes in the behind the figures. So if I do open up something, like, do I have an example? I don't right now. Most of my stuff is packed away right now, but usually it goes like either behind it or like with Super 7, like I display my turtles,
Mhm.
and then I try and keep the box, but like I do have Super 7 Voltron and Panthro, and I keep them in box, but I keep those like behind or in front of the original sleeve so that you can still see kind of everything around it. But I think that you do have to keep that, like if you have a vintage collection, you need to show off those boxes. And Robert, does a great job right there. And it's just you do have to show it off. It's just when you don't have the room to show it off. What's up, Ryan? When you don't have the room to show it off, then that's where it gets kind of like this, where you show off a little bit.
a bit
But not
dicey, right? Yeah.
It's like, all right, what can I show off? What can I get away with to
Balancing
not
act.
make it look like
Yeah.
because like you've got a great collection where like yes it is packed in there, but it looks nice and clean and it's very like presentable and Roberts has everything. Mine was looking like a hot mess.
But you've got the L shape in the corner though, which is actually like the optimal way to do a stream, if you ask me, right?
Yeah. I finally
I got a window here, so I can't L shape it, right? So right.
Also, whenever my wife comes in, she just goes, "You have too much. Can you get rid of all this?"
Yeah. Yeah. Shellback, I'm getting a little bit of feedback, a little bit of white noise from your mic. We can roll with it. It's not a big deal. Yeah. So if it's something that you can adjust on your end, it's fine. If not, don't worry about it. We can roll with it. Yeah. I only know that because I tried to mute your mic and then the white noise disappeared. And then when I tried to mute Bobby's mic, that didn't happen. I usually wait till the other one is talking to try to figure out where the white noise is coming from. But we can roll with it if you don't know where it's coming from. It's fine. It's very faint, but I can just hear it a little bit. But yeah, Payne's Toy Samples has joined, pulling in a Hans Chow, kicking the door down. And Dave C, straight from the pit, thank you for your nice comment on the last stream as well. Always a nice guy and always good to hear from you. Boba Hicks here says that a lot of his setup is loose with a row of carded ones for the background. That's actually a good way to do it as well. I'm actually having a hard time trying to display my box stuff. Like it's to the point that somehow, and I don't know how it happened, my Transformers Jetfire box, I put it on its front and I started displaying stuff on top of it. So like you literally can't see it. I'm literally using it as a platform right now. And I feel so bad because it's a freaking box Generation 1 Jetfire.
So
what is that? Oh, you got the Castle Grayskull. Okay.
But like that's kind of how my old setup, I had everything on top of it. I had everything on top of the boxes, and you walk in going, "This is gonna fall."
Well, it's not just that. Like mine is face down, so literally it's a platform for the other boxes. So like I feel so silly right now doing that. If I'm going to use it as a platform, I may as well just get a wooden plank as the platform instead. If I'm going to do that, oh man, it just looks so silly right now up there. Like,
can I real quick? Can you mentioned something? I don't mean to
good
steal your thunder, but you mentioned something that actually makes a great point. Why sometimes carded is, I want to say, easier to display, because sorry Romo, but if you look at my Joes, half are standing, half are fallen. Why? Because Hasbro can't make proper feet. Same with my Marvel Legends, half are standing, half are fallen. You know what's not fallen? The boxes.
I knew it.
The boxes aren't fallen. They have stood. And it is because look, like these are really great shelves, but like they do, even just like the slightest foot by it, they'll wobble, and then they all come tumbling down. And with that comes, oh hey, did this small little gun fly somewhere?
I've had that. I've had that. And, like, especially with the Marvel Legends and some of the female classified characters, I've noticed that the feet tend to be a bit smaller. So they always fall. Yeah, like Jean Grey. Why is my Jean Grey on a figure stand and the rest of my figures are not?
Well, and the fact that she has like 15 pounds of hair, like, unless she's like kind of like hunched over, she's actually standing. Hey, there we go. But yeah, it's tough. And like classified, yeah, like CoverGirl standing, but Lady J just
yeah, that's what happens. Like I got to put my Lady J on a stand as well. So yeah, I don't know. As for vintage card art, I do have a Shellback. I'm just gonna try to lower your mic by about 15% volume. See if that takes care of some of the white noise. But if we can't hear you, I'll boost your volume back up. If you want to try saying something, let's see if we can hear you.
Testing. Hey.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Okay. So, all right. Like for me, one of the other ways that I could get away with getting box art stuff was to get smaller boxes, like these mini play sets, right? Because I would never recycle these. I would never throw them out. If I had to get rid of them, I'd bring them to a toy show and I'd sell them. But at the same time, it's very difficult to display all these play sets loose. When they come apart and they slide nicely into the box and they're a skinny box, it's actually easier to display them. Now, ever since then, I've now put other boxes in front of them, and now I don't even see them. But that's that's a conundrum that I started just recently. So this is one example, right? But like I know, and I was talking to, funny enough, he just shows up the minute I was going to mention his name, but Hans Chow, we were talking to him the other day. We're like, I feel like the artists today have gotten even more talented, arguably, compared to the past. But there's something about seeing the innocence of that old school box art. And it could be the Turtles box art, right? Like the sewer layer is among my favorite box arts.
Beautiful.
Right? Yeah. That I've ever seen. I like it more than the Technodrome. Right? And I remember pulling the original 10-back Turtles off of the shelf back in the late 80s. And just enjoying it. But the innocence of that card art just creates that vintage toy store feel. Yeah. That now when I go to a toy store, I'm just there for the characters. I don't necessarily need the bright colors and go, oh my God, all this rows and rows of infinite stuff. Right? I just want to get the figures and go. Yeah. Maybe because like we're buying our own toys now, but as a kid, you had to choose what your mom and dad or whoever you were with would buy you the figures, right? Sure. And that would often lead to a lot of extra time just staring at the toy aisle, right? Because there were times in 1988 where it was like 10-back Turtles. That was before we called them 10-backs. The 88 Transformers in the Pretender style. Tiger Force G.I. Joe. Right, He-Man was gone by that point in time, though I think they may have had like a small section of like leftover He-Man stuff at the time. But that was the issue, right? Or maybe you had some Brave Star stuff, right? Or the 3rd series or 4th series of Mask would be there, and it was like choices. Yeah. And at the time, as a kid, you probably just impulse bought whatever you saw on TV most recently, right? And then you go home and you're like, maybe I should have bought the other one. And then you're like, how long is it till my birthday? How long is it till Christmas? Or how long is it till an aunt or uncle visits and they'll take me to the store just to be nice? I used to do that sometimes as well. Just wait for an aunt or uncle to show up and be like, and just wait for the golden question. So what are you doing these days? Well, I'd really like a toy. Oh, how much is? Well, it's about $20. I'll get that for you. So yeah. My godmother used to do that for me all the time. In fact, she did it just a few months ago. I was already at the mall, and I was meeting with her because we were going to go take my son for an afternoon snack. And she comes into Toys R Us, and I'm holding a Back to the Future NECA Marty McFly. And she's like, just gives me because she always calls me Kenny Boy whenever she sees me. So she's like, oh, Kenny Boy, let me see it. I'm like, so she sees it. And then she heads over to the cashier's counter and she pays for it. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, you just made me feel like I was, 10 years old again. He's like, that's the point. And I'm like, okay, so, my aunt who used to buy me G.I. Joes in the early 90s Joes just bought me a Marty McFly from NECA Back to the Future, and I didn't know whether to feel embarrassed or flattered. I think I feel flattered for the purpose of this, but it was one of those weird situations where that's partly why I'm bringing it up, because I had that deja vu feeling again where having that relative come to visit town and be like, what are you into? But this time she didn't even ask me that. She saw me holding the box and picked it up and grabbed it out of my hands, went straight to the counter. So, yeah. And yeah, Dave C. That's eventually you get to that point as a kid, right? Every gift option or allowance towards 80 something. If not Joe's, you get something, right? I think Dave C. I think you've got a channel as well that maybe we could put into the chat. Yeah. So,
well, that kind of happened actually last month. Kind of. I went to visit my parents before my birthday, and there was this small toy show, or kind of a toy show up in Dripping Springs here in Texas, where my parents live. And my dad and I went, and part of my birthday gift was my parents gave me $100, and I was like, here, go have fun. But then it's like, hey, I gotta budget this just right. So I open. I got myself a cable that I've been looking for, and the black suit Spider-Man, and then some other stuff. I got Hot Wheels. I got CGC comic. So, but it's tough because I was looking at inbox. I'm like, ooh, that's cool. Okay, I got 4K. But then you got to do the math. But yeah.
Well, with graded, it's hard, right? Because I was staring at a 9.6 graded Killing Joke issue not that long ago. But I had so much other stuff I was committed to buy. Oh, and look at that! I say Dave C. Straight from the Pit has a channel. Gazz finds it in about 30 seconds and throws it into the chat. Between kicking trolls out of the chat and doing this, yeah. Anyway, very grateful. Yeah. So anyway, Bobby, as far as graded stuff is concerned, so you're into CGC and AFA stuff.
Oh yeah, so I'll show this off for the group.
Sure.
My 6'5" X-Men #1. There you go, boom. For y'all. In case y'all are wondering who's on here, it's Jim Lee, Chris Claremont, Herb Trimp, Roy Thomas, Lynn Wine, John Romita Sr., and Michael Golden. Everyone who has made anyone pretty much on this.
Wait, they all signed it?
Yep.
Wow, I saw the silver part, but I'm seeing the black colored signatures now too.
Yeah, so there's.
Oh, you did get John Romita Jr., yep. Right?
Senior.
Okay.
Yes, the senior.
I read. Yeah. Okay.
Senior co-created Wolverine, so with Lynn Wine and Herb Trimp. So yeah, I had to get them all on this, and this is something that I've told my wife that she can never sell. If anything happens to me, this goes on to our children when we have them. Everything else, don't care. This and my Eternia stay.
Wait, you have a vintage Eternia?
I do.
You're one of the few. Scuba Pete from Chasing 80s Toys has a vintage Eternia, and so does Ryan Dole from Toy Anxiety. And I just saw a vintage Eternia in person at the toy show last week, complete and everything.
Yeah.
And he displayed it with the Repro monorail, but he said that he had a vintage monorail unbroken, but he said you don't want to display it with that. And I said, actually, it was the same person who sold me the Brave Star and the
really.
And the what do you call it? The Mr. T. And I said, Jules, what are you asking on it? And he's like, in Canadian dollars, I need $2,800, which is about, what is that? About 2,100 US. So.
Opened, yeah. And mine is almost complete. So there is, and I've spoken with him a few times. He has a great channel, Toy Polloy.
Yes, Dave. Yes,
And
nice guy.
a very nice guy. Actually, I'm trying to set up a small interview with him because, like, his channel, like, I've learned how to like fix my Master of the Universe. Tony is right with that one. How to kind of fix them. And so I reached out to him and go, hey, you don't have any Eternia stickers on your website? Like, do you have them? Do you know? And he reached into spec in December. He goes, I actually have them. They're just too big for my website. Here we go. Merry Christmas. And he sent me the stickers for Eternia. So whenever I do finally, have a house of my own, because this we're just here for temporary. Like, I do want to like fix my Eternia, like put it all nice and I mean, it is actually in pieces right now because I had to take it apart when we moved. But I do want to like set up Eternia, put new stickers on, and yeah, I love that thing.
If you get the space, that's great. Like, I know I always make my collection look bigger than it is, but I basically have this wall, that wall, and a few figures on my desk, and then a lot of stuff is in boxes and bins in the garage. So, yeah, Toy Polloi is great. If you're able to get him on for an interview for Toy Kind of Mood, that'd be great. I did try to get him on TKO a long time ago, and he said, you know what, I like to keep it about the toys, not about me as a person, which is a very humble thing to say, because he doesn't do a lot of interviews, right? And look at this, like clockwork.
Boom. Yeah, like his stuff is like the way that he fixes figures. Because, and I actually have him on my desk right now, and I got lucky that this hasn't broken. But so like the rubber bands and a lot of the on the old Motus frail break, and he was like, one of his episodes was like, here's how you fix him. I was like, oh my god! So I went and I started like fixing all my old Motus, and luckily I did have to super glue this just a bit, but this clasp is not broken, so I got lucky there. So,
well, Dave from Toy Polloi, if you're watching this, you're getting a lot of free promotion right now, not just from us on screen, but also from people in the chat.
There we go. See?
Oh yeah, you got it all together with the Thunder Punch He-Man. Yeah. Well, all right. Just moving along a little bit here. Do you throw packaging away? Shellback, let's go to you. Do you throw packaging away?
I have been recently. I've been kind of running out of room saving stuff. But like I said, it depends on if it's newer stuff. Most of the time, yeah. My son has a Motu Origins collection. I don't save any of the box art for that stuff. Just open it, let him play with it, throw that stuff away. Vintage stuff, I tend to hold on to if I have the room and if I like it enough. I'll find a spot for it.
All right.
Yeah, it adds up quick.
It's hard to keep the packaging for the modern stuff. What about you, Bobby?
It depends. I saw someone do some really cool stuff where like they take the open boxes and like cut the sides and backs off and then like frame them all like as one giant like display. I'm like, that's really cool. The one thing, so I know with one of my toy chats, it's the whole like plastic covering of the plastic versus like all like no plastic. And it makes me feel a little better. Like I haven't unboxed this yet, but I'm going to like I have no desire to keep this box. So once I open Dr. Fate, like I'll keep the backing. Like I'll slice this off, but then it gets chunked. But like cover girl, like I love this artwork. Like this is art. So like I do keep my G.I. Joes like in a line with the art. So it's tough, but usually it gets either like sliced. I keep way too much shit. I just keep way too much stuff. So I need to start like chunking out. Like I have so many like these like grandioso visions. And my wife's like, when are you gonna do this? I'm like, someday. And it's like,
and also when you have the space, right?
When I have this exactly like
I'll tell you where I can get more space if I was just a little bit more if I could make the right, I don't know what the right choice is, because I do a lot of toy shows, so I get a lot of extra toys because obviously I have my own collection of stuff. And I've told this sob story a few times, and it might be the first time you two are hearing it, and it might be the first time a few people in the chat are hearing it, is sometimes I want to buy a piece, but it's in a collection, so I have to buy the collection. Collection's a great price. You keep you keep the piece or pieces you need, you sell the rest. Well, eventually you accumulate stuff. It goes in bins, and they just go on shelves in the garage. If I ever stop doing that and stop doing toy shows, could I just clear those extra bins of stuff and just put my boxed stuff displayed there instead? Right? And it doesn't get that warm here in British Columbia. Say that now, and then I'll get a really warm. Anyway, but I haven't had anything like really deformed or anything. Like there was a good number of months I kept a Ghostbusters Firehouse in there, which doesn't fit all the way back in its box. The platform, the base doesn't go back in all the way, and it never got deformed. The box never got damaged. Moist never damaged it. Now that was a number of years ago. It was too big, so I didn't keep that set. Kind of wish I had now because I haven't seen one since.
But I have very expensive. I've seen the I have my original Ghostbuster Firehouse, like out of package, obviously. But I've seen like the box, and just the box alone is like what, $100-$200 almost just for the box at times.
Now, back then it was like $200 complete with the box.
Yeah,
right. Like 6-7 years ago when I got them and nobody wanted to keep them. I kind of find that the nostalgia really got big after 2016. Prior to that, there was a lot of people collecting Transformers, Modern Marvel, and Star Wars Black Series. Yeah. I found that the Joe Market, it was easy to get stuff. People were just dumping collections. Motu, Turtles, Ghostbusters, especially Ghostbusters. I had so many Ghostbusters, like I was turning collections down. And it all started because I needed the ghost for my vintage Winston figure. And I was like, I told the guy, and I've told this story before, I'll give you $15 for the ghost. That's what it's going for on eBay. I'll give it to you. I don't have to pay the shipping. We're good. He goes, no, just buy my whole collection for $100. And I'm like, but you've got 4 other figures. You've got Slimer. You've got the Green Ghost Slimer. You've got the Ecto-1. Everything looks complete. Maybe you're missing a piece here or there. You got to Stay Puffed. He's like, yeah, I just want to dump it all for $100. And I'm like, okay, right? Those days don't happen anymore.
No.
Nope, very rare.
Right. So,
and you also have people who, like, it's like you have people who know what they're selling, and they know what, and you have people who are just like, well, maybe this, and you're like, I'm not gonna deal with that. Like I at that same like little toy convention, there's a cool like little Ninja Turtle van Hot Wheel. And I was like, oh, how much? You didn't have a price tag. And if you don't have a price tag on your stuff when you're at a con, I don't trust you. But I will ask. I'm like, hey, how much? And he goes, I'll do it for like 10. They do it for like, $15, $20. I go on eBay, like I'm like, maybe I'll come back, which means no. And I looked on eBay, it was like $2. I'm like, yeah. Like, and I get you have to make your money. I understand that.
Yeah, I think because people at toy shows, they and Shellback, you know this from the Frank and Son show, people may put a little bit of extra because they know people will haggle, right? Yeah. Like for me, what always happens is
that's where everyone goes. They know
that's right. And for me, I shouldn't be this formulaic, but there are times where I will, for example, I'll look on eBay. It's all in American, so I gotta convert it to Canadian, and it'll convert to something like $94.80 or something like that. So I'll probably call it 100, knowing that the person's gonna not have to pay shipping. Yep. Knowing also they may ask me for a deal, and then I'll give them $5 off and get them basically to what the price would have been, or maybe I'll give them $10 off if I like them. But it's just part of the game, and I kind of hate that that's part of the game.
Yeah,
because sometimes I feel like if you sell at a show, there's a little bit of a implication of like, oh, here's shady, greasy salesman kind of thing, right? And I've changed my mentality a lot. Like now that I've started to do these live streams, got the channel, got the community, I kind of want to shed that feel. It's almost like I got so much passion, so much energy for this stuff that if I get labeled as shady, greasy salesperson, it feels bad. You know, and people will still do it. It's okay. Like I can at this point, I can take it on the chin, but it's not fun.
Yeah.
Right. Again, I'm getting a little sidetracked here.
Okay.
I'm. Where is he in the chat? I'm getting travested right now. It's a travesty. We'll spell it with an I. It's a travesty. Oh, that's it. That's it. All right, Romo, Sweeney, KJ, if you're in the chat, we are gonna hashtag this word, and we are gonna travesty. We're gonna do this, right? Shellback, if I know you're not much of a Joe person, but like that's basically a Bobby's co-host on Toy kind of mood.
Okay.
Yeah, Travis. He's an actor, so and he's a live streamer.
Yeah.
He's totally gonna shellac me over Messenger later on. He's not gonna let this go.
His gotta be ringing.
He's not.
That's hilarious. Oh my god.
All right, Romo's loving it. The best would be like if Travis like has his hands full right now, like maybe he's doing chores or something, and he's listening to us in the background, and he's looking at the screen, going, "Did Ken just hashtag my name in a bastardization fashion?"
Oh, that's perfect. Oh my god, I love that.
Anytime you go off topic, we're gonna and what do you call it? Soapbox. We're gonna call it a travesty, which is funny because I do the same thing as him on wrestling all the time. You know, Shellback and I could be sitting here talking about Ninja Turtles, and someone will be like, "Hey Ken, did you watch WrestleMania?" And I'll be like, "Oh my god, Cody Rhodes is robbed." Blah 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 blah. The next 10 minutes is about nothing but.
He was robbed.
Travis was robbed.
I was texting Travis like Cody's got this. He's like, no, it's when you go Roman. I'm like, no, come on.
Well, Ryan and I and Gazz was in the chat as well. We kind of had this conversation as well, and Ryan liked the booking. I'm doing it now. I'm doing it. I'm causing a travesty. Ryan liked the idea of Roman keeping the belt and saying we keep building Cody Rhodes up.
We need to build Cody. I get it. And I don't even watch wrestling, but I was like house sitting. I was like, you know what? It's free. I got nothing else to do. Let's watch some WrestleMania. And I watched day 2, and day 2 was like, I loved it. I heard day 1 was better, but I loved day 2.
Were you an old school wrestling fan at all, Shellback?
I did watch a lot of old school wrestling way back in the day, Jake the Snake and Hulk and Big Boss Man, stuff like that.
So you'll remember Dusty Rhodes, probably the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. So we're talking because Cody Rhodes is his son. Yeah. And for anyone in the chat who doesn't know as well, Cody Rhodes was in the main event challenging Roman Reigns, who's actually The Rock's cousin. So it's like there's some bloodlines there, right? It's The Rock's cousin versus Dusty Rhodes' youngest son, right? So there's kind of that connection, or I guess Goldust's younger brother, right? So there's a bit of a connection there. But anyway,
back on track.
Yeah. Back on track. What were we talking about? We were talking about travesties. Look at that! I've started a hashtag. Oh my god! let me check my Instagram messages right now. Oh someone Facebooked me on. Okay, no, sorry, it wasn't Travis. Thank goodness. Oh my god! Somebody told him Ken's ragging on you right now. I've totally gone off the rails. Okay, sorry. I've lost track of what's going on. Shellback, talk to us about some turtles while I get my brain back together.
All right. Well,
all right, put you on the spot.
Yeah. Well, you guys are showing off some greatest stuff, so I got a little envious.
Oh, so I saw you get up and go.
I'll go ahead and show.
Hotspot
right here. Yeah. Oh god, my screen.
Yeah. No, I'm going to. I'm totally going to solo layout you.
It's great.
That's cool.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so I figured I'd break that out. See if I can get this glare off. There we go.
Oh, so is it true that like Hotspot's kind of like the second Grail next to I almost said Scareglow. Oh my god.
Scratch.
Scratch. Yeah, Scratch.
I mean, he was there for a while, but the I don't know, the buzz for Hotspot has kind of dropped off a little bit lately. I mean, obviously he's still pretty collectible. Prices are still going up, but there's a lot of other figures out there in the TMNT world that people are chasing. The sumos are really hot right now. The Winged Warriors. I mean, the metalized Warriors, Rocksteady and stuff like that. Everyone is trying to go for those ones right now. But like I said, the hotspot. He's kind of on the downward right now, but he's still pretty up there next to Scratch and stuff like that.
All right. And I think you were talking about last time you were on the show, you were talking about a variant of the Shredder. Was it the Chrome Face Shredder? There was a variant that I had never heard of on one of the vintage Shredders. Yeah, I forget now. Maybe it was Speaky Geeky Ethan who said it at the time. I'm not sure.
I think it might have been him. I don't remember.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, this is. Sorry, my brain just went to wrestling, and when it does that, I have a hard time getting back on track. Mega J Retro always gives me hell about that. He's just like, Ken, with you, everything falls back to some era of WWE or the recent AEW or something like that. So anyway, I'll welcome Cutthroat Comics to the chat while I get my brain back together. But I think I actually hit the end of my my question series here, but which is totally fine. You know, we can kind of go open mic, open season, right about now. I don't actually have any like graded figures. When do either of you? Okay, I was gonna ask, when do either of you? Maybe I'll throw the question to Bobby first then, because like, when do you choose to get something graded? Is it opportunistic, or is it something you need to have a deep connection and a deep attachment to? Does it have to be one of your upper tier characters or lines?
Little A, little of B. I got this because my mom was like, "What do you want for your birthday?" And I like, "Ooh, let me get that graded," because it is kind of expensive. I have like a stack of figures I do want to get graded, mainly due to connections to them. One is I've got still it's from the Power Rangers movie, but it was the box was messed up, so it's a Red Ranger on a White Ranger packaging.
Oh, that's awesome!
The error card.
Actually, if you want to like mute me, I'll go get it for you. I actually have it right over here. Hold on.
Yeah, no problem. Were you a Power Rangers fan growing up, Shellback?
I watched Power Rangers, but I forced myself off of them after a while. It was getting a little bit too ridiculous, but
it was like. Do you remember what season that was, where you had to force yourself off?
I stopped after the first one. I mean, I was 85, but after the first one, I was pretty much done.
Oh wow, that's interesting. I couldn't stop, so I went right through the 90s. So.
Oh wow.
So I finished after the movie was done pretty much, but like so Red Ranger, White Ranger packaging. The packaging isn't it is decent, but like I've had this for almost 30 years now. See, this is in 95.
95.
So yeah. almost 30 years that I've had this. So
yeah, an error card is an error card is a rare thing to get. In fact, it's another example of a travesty. Oh my goodness. Maybe I have to make sure I never meet Travis in person. He's totally gonna roll of quarters me in the face for it. So here we go. What do you got there? We're gonna have a look at that.
So this is the new ones that just came out, but I picked this up. It's an error card, Rocksteady with the Splinter background. So you were showing the error stuff. So I figured I'd go ahead and show that one. Just recently picked this one up, so pretty stoked about this one.
Yeah.
I might end up getting that one graded just because I know eventually in the future it'll be worth something at least.
And that's the other thing too, right? Like if you had to sell something, you could. But if you're too attached to it, it's hard to do so.
Yeah, definitely. That's the choices we make as collectors, though. You know what I mean? If the funds, you got to kind of pick and choose what you want, and hey, I'll keep the this really nice piece that I'm super glad to have, and then I'll sell off some of my some loose things and a couple other things to kind of compensate for the cost. So at least that's what I do anyway, for the most part, because I ain't made of money,
Yeah.
Pick and choose some battles.
So yeah. This actually is probably gonna be my next thing I get graded after the Power Ranger than this. So a few years back I had to sell one of my figures, and granted, the price has gone down since because of all the different releases. But for my 40th, my wife I had to sell my Rogue. My wife bought me this
Oh.
for my 40th.
The Build-A-Figure Rogue.
Yep, Build-A-Figure Rogue. But it was really sweet because, and I've mentioned this before, like for Christmas, she got me this one because she thought this was the one I sold. I'm like, no. So she went and got me this one for my 40th, and so now I've got both of these rogues, and now with the classics, I've got like 3 rogues. So now I need a rogue. I need a wall of rogues. But yeah, that one that she got me won't ever be sold.
So the retro carded one you showed, was that like the Toy Biz size one? Is that what that is?
This one?
Like
This is the original Toy Biz.
Yeah, okay. Because I have the retro carded one that was the more modern style, which is probably the one you sold.
And
right?
I've got that one as well.
I used to have the one that you have in the Build-A-Figure packaging.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's that big of a difference. Like I upgraded from the Build-A-Figure one to the retro carded one, but I felt the difference was so minor. I almost didn't want to do it.
So I sold this one a while back, and then when the classic came out, I was like, all right, cool. I mean, I was doing the classic, so I'm like, all right, this looks cool, looks good. But it wasn't the rogue I sold, and that's where like I was like, and my wife, and so she found this, online, and I told her this will probably get graded, even if it isn't worth as much what it once was. It doesn't matter for me. This is one of those things where like this is the thought behind it.
The thought, it's about the story behind it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. That rogue actually goes for a pretty penny on the secondary market for completists, right? Yes. Even if the other one is like 5% better in the face sculpt, that one goes for a lot. Yeah. It was, I think, my last eBay sale ever I made. Really? I haven't done one since then because I was buying the other version, so I just wanted to recover some cash, and I made back more than what I paid, which is one of the rare times you can. A lot of times you take a loss, right? Yeah. So, Shellback, do you have the 4-pack color headband ones?
4 piece NECA TMNT color headband ones? I don't think so. I kind of stopped collecting the NECA stuff. That just sort of kind of snowballed on me. I started, getting all the 2-packs and stuff like that, doing reviews on it, but at $50 a pop, or even $300 for the set and stuff like that, it sort of kind of snowballed, and I switched to strictly Super 7 pretty much for the most part right now.
Probably a smart idea, right?
Yeah, as far as the new stuff.
One of the collections where I got, I needed a couple of Transformers in there. Surprise, surprise. One of the things that came in the collection was a NECA, Taka, and Razar in the box. And I brought it to the toy show, and just the amount of people who walked by was like, oh, that's a good piece. Oh, that's a good piece. And I was close enough to the door that the people who walked by were kind of like, oh, I just got here. I can't splurge on that right now. And then they'd do a loop. By the time they came back, somebody else had bought it. Right. But the NECA stuff, if you're into it, I guess the point I'm trying to make is you're really, really deep into the NECA stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the movie stuff, I like the movie stuff. It's just that the cartoon part of it is so deep, and they've got so many, like, just so many characters. It's hard to keep up with. But obviously, Token and Razor, Super Shredder, and the movie ones, I do have those. But yeah, the cartoon ones, man, they're just keep going. I just can't keep up with those ones.
And that's fair, right? Because they re-released them, and like at Toys R Us here, they had the 4-pack of the 4 turtles, but they wanted like 200 Canadian or something for it here. I don't understand why Toys R Us had such a markup on that.
Side note, so jealous that you guys still have big Toys R Us stores.
Yeah, right. But the price disparity between Toys R Us and Walmart is a bit much.
It is.
And also we don't have Target. We don't have Target here, right? Although I know that's not a compensation, because Target there's a smaller toy section than Toys R Us, obviously, but still. Yeah. Cutthroat asks me, any new figures I pick up this month? I mean, I went to the toy show not long ago, and I grabbed, like I mentioned, the some carded stuff. Unless you mean like new, like modern figures, for which, oh goodness, what did I even get for modern figures this month? My brain is so smashed up, I don't even remember what the hell I have. Oh, that's right, indie stuff is coming out. That must be a new pickup.
Yeah, this just came in the mail. I just got this literally, I think it came out on Thursday. I once again, carded versus opened. I love this indie. Like I like, and actually I do have his little idol right here. I love this indie. I'll probably be getting quite a bit of the indies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Gazz was just showing me the burning face as well, and that's just like he's totally into the Indiana Jones right now as well. I think a lot of people are. So yeah, I don't actually collect any indie stuff, so it's like I'm gonna be living vicariously through other people. I know it's like an all-time classic movie trilogy, and the new movie's coming out, I believe, this summer, so there's gonna be a lot of hype around it. I just can't get myself to buy them, and I wasn't that big of a fan growing up, right? You know, it was mostly about seeing Harrison Ford run around after Star Wars was kind of how I remember indie, right? Oh, did we lose you? I think we lost you. Your mic. Yeah. So anyway, everyone's got questions for Shellback in the chat.
Super 7 Rat King. Oh man, yeah, that you know, they've there's a couple things they've gone out on a limb on. You know, the Sergeant Bananas / Magilla Gorilla, or what? I mean, not Magilla Gorilla. But anyway, they kind of changed that one. But the Super 7 Rat King, yeah, I think that one, yeah, I think they ventured a little bit too far and made them a little too pretty for that one. I mean, I'll probably still pick them up just to kind of complete the line or keep collecting it. But yeah, I think they missed the mark on that one a little bit.
Yeah, it happens.
Which isn't often with Super 7. Normally, I always promote Super 7, and I'm always on board with them. You know, but that one and their van, little unsatisfied, I guess you could say, with those sculpts.
Well, our buddy Ethan from Speaky Geeky has been interviewing people from Super 7, which is great. Great to see him making some good connections. And let's plug Gridiron Studios a little bit here for a second, Bobby. The indie loadout. I was looking at their Starduster G.I. Joe Classified loadout and their Grand Slam loadout. I was complaining to Anthony actually that it would take a lot to repaint to get a Starduster, but if you're a handy customizer, you'll make it work, right? A lot of times I can't even tell, like after it's been customized, which figure they're using, and I have to go to either Anthony or Ryan and be like, "What are they using?" He's like, "Ken, that's clearly Duke, Ken," and I'm like, "I can't tell under all the paint."
Clearly,
right? If you're a customizer, you know, right?
Yeah.
But if you're not, it's just how it is sometimes.
That's wrong.
But
it's easy. Like, yeah, sure, okay, Tony, okay.
Yeah, it's easy, right? There we go, right? You just get the paintbrush and you just go to town. That's all it takes, right, Tony? That's all it takes. Yeah. And no, I didn't get the Bruce Lee Super 7 figure. I am looking, and this is a totally different type of franchise. I am looking at the Jada Toy Street Fighter stuff, though.
Okay.
That stuff's got it's got something, and of course, right on cue. Check out Gridiron stuff. Boom!
There he is.
Right on cue, Gazz. Love it. Yeah. So somebody asked earlier on the chat, do you have any rules for collecting carded, or is it just? I know we've kind of touched on it right now. For me, it's become kind of like an impulse buy kind of thing with the collecting of the card and stuff.
I mean, for me, it's do I have this in my collect, or am I doing this collection? Is this part of like my mode 2? Like for the most part, like it is in package.
Mm-hmm.
If not, then I'm gonna do open, because for the most part, like I have my stuff open. Like I don't need I don't need per se them in the packaging. But if I do, like with my Joes, like if I want to get it, I'm gonna get them. I'm gonna display them, you know, either numbered or I'll display them like this. So Joes, yeah, Marvel Legends, I don't need the box. I don't. Star Wars, I don't really need the box. So it all depends on whether or not it's going to go into the collection, how it's going to go in the collection, and how it is
displayed.
Exactly, and the display is, you know, kind of a big deal. And you know, you obviously, Robert, have, you know, the display behind you, which I'm still like in awe of that display. Question Quick question: what do you use for your loose figures? What is that? Is that a baseball bat holder or?
That's I don't know. I was at Michael's and it actually lights up. It's got LED lights on it and everything. I didn't want to turn it on because it'll be blinding y'all, but I got it at Michael's. It's just some collectible shelf.
I like that. Yeah,
but,
I need to get,
but it worked out
I need to
good.
get my turtles. I had my sewer displayed with all my figures, just doing random stuff on it. But once again, that is in a box somewhere at the old apartment that needs to get brought over. But yeah, so I'll throw it to you.
Well, I was gonna say as far as collecting on card, it also depends on for me, it's two factors. You got the rarity factor of the figure, and obviously the condition of the card. Like if the card is, beat up, got a rip and the bubble's cracked, obviously it's a ripper. You know what I mean? That's what we call it. It's a ripper. It's not a hard decision. You know what I mean? Just rip it and display it, and then get it, graded loose complete. Depending on the rarity of the figure. But if it's a super, super rare figure, and it's on card, and the card is at least somewhat salvageable, then I'll probably keep it on card. Until I get it graded. You know what I mean? Loose complete.
That's right.
All right. I actually completely forgot the question. Oh, collecting rules. That was it. I mean, Impossiblepie has it's a question, but almost like a suggestion, like, do you look for terrible figure cards? Easy to open, and you end up with a nice figure.
To answer that question, I actually am. The Monster series, the Universal Monsters Series 1, I'm collecting all of those on crappy cards so that I can purposely rip them and get them all loose complete graded in a case. So actually, if anybody's out there, I'm looking for a Dracula Dawn crappy card so that I can complete my line and finally get it graded.
Nice.
I haven't seen one in a long time. Like I used to see them at toy shows for like $10 or less a number of years ago, and now like I haven't run into one like even loose, let alone carded, let alone like crappy carded, could open, get it nice and minty. So
good luck with Series 2. Those ones are pretty hard.
Well, Robert here's all about the turtles, right? So if you want to learn about vintage or even some modern Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it's what he's all about, right? I always tend to like really appreciate those who can stay focused on a collection, because like you clearly know other walks of pop culture. We talked a bit about A-Team earlier on. You knew some of the 90s cartoons that we talked about, and like Power Rangers and stuff, but like you're able to stay focused, right? I could not stay focused for the life of me.
Same.
Right. I wasn't at first. You were talking about the Ghostbusters Firehouse. I did have that in my collection. I had that complete. I also dabble a little bit in vintage Nickelodeon, but that's about it. But yeah, when I first started, I had some of the Kenner 89 Batman stuff, Ghostbusters, Bucky O'Hare. But I figured out what my main passion was, and kind of, I was like, okay, if I, sell this, then I can get this in my turtle collection, and really just, like you said, just focused on just the turtle stuff. So
yeah,
smart.
Yeah,
if
Bobby,
you can do it, it's
Bobby,
hard.
you feel me on this one. It's you say you're gonna stay focused for a while, at least for me, and then the focus shifts. You shift back, but your brain feels a little scattered. You're not really sure. Then another good deal comes along. Then a figure you kind of want comes along. You talk yourself into it, and you either regret it or you're proud of yourself, but you don't know until you've paid and got it. And it will be carded, and it could be loose. So
yeah, I will say, Travis and I have had this discussion quite a bit. But when it comes to Transformers, he and I are both like very like, hey, only 86 line, like the new ones.
Studio
only
line,
the 86 line. Like, we are like, he and I like had this discussion like both on camera and off. It's like, no, we are, because Transformers can go so vast. Like, shoo, okay, no. But we are both
not really manageable.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's not manageable.
Transformers, like just the 86, and then even then, like he has his like ones that he wants, like these only. And same with me. Like once I finish the Dinobots and once I get Beachcomber, I'm done. I keep saying I'm done, but like, oh, Beachcomber. Okay, I need Beachcomber. I still need to finish my Dinobots. Done. Like Marvel Legends, I'm kind of like waning off that just a bit because this does come into like the price value. Like I'm not good. Why would I spend $25 on just a figure when like Travis got me hooked on G.I. Joe? But G.I. Joe, you get so much in a box. Like, well, obviously, I'll buy Joe over Marvel. It's tough. It's tough, but
I find it interesting that you're able to stick to just Studio 86 because that scale of figures outside of the packaging looks exactly in line with the Legacy figures and the War for Cybertron stuff. Yeah, the Grimlock, sure, but like, I mean, like the cars, if you get Studio 86 Jazz and you get War for Cybertron, like Cliff Jumper or somebody, they scale. So out of the packaging, you can't really tell what's Studio 86 versus what's War for Cybertron versus what's Legacy. So I don't know how you're able to stick to Studio 86. It's like somebody saying like WWE, right? You got the Legends collection and you got the Elite collection. Out of the packaging, you can't really tell which one.
You can't tell.
Right?
Really
right?
Really
so, I don't know. That's a really, and Gazz is a really big Grimlock fan, so I'm glad he's here to see your studio Grimlock. Speaking of something that's in the back shelf, so mine's hiding. So, well, kind of hiding. Yeah. Well, why don't you tell me what you two are working on in terms of your channel? Shellback, do you got something coming down the pipeline?
Yeah, well, like I said earlier, I got my my room tour video coming up, and then I have another TMNT collection video coming out with Sammy G and a couple other collectors showing off their stuff. I got a side question for you guys after this as well, but and then after that, I'm working on this new. I made this in lieu of or because of like March Madness. I did this this TMNT bracket, you know what I mean, as far as like grails and figures and stuff like that versus this figure versus this figure, and I sent it out to a bunch of TMNT guys, and I'm gonna go ahead and post the results and see
awesome,
nice,
see how that turns out.
And if you got a grail in your collection you want to talk about before, then I'll let you ask your question, and then we'll go to what Bobby's working on next.
Well, I'll let him answer the question, and then I'll answer that on the side.
All right.
So we are. Travis just did a really cool wrestling video. So there was that. Coming up, we are doing. If you weren't aware, this past weekend was Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah,
with a lot of news dropped. I'm excited about all of it, and a lot of new toys coming out. And Travis and I maybe our good friend Ronnie will be joining the show, but Travis and I will be breaking down all the Star Wars figures that got released. Some that I'm excited about, and others that I'm like meh about. So
I woke up to somebody saying something about the Endor Village being the next HasLab. I don't know if that's true or somebody just.
I don't think it was Endor. It was Jabba Skiff from Return of the Jedi.
Okay. Something Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, it was
related.
It is Jabba Skiff.
I scrolled past it too quickly on Facebook, and then I only caught a glimpse. But all right. Holy Grail figure, and then we're gonna let Shellback ask us a question after. Or did you show it to us already? Was it that hotspot figure?
No, I mean, he's one of them, but I mean, like I said, I do have a Sumo on card. He's probably my nice. Grail. I mean,
all right.
My Grail on card that I have that I can show would probably be my graded Brave Star or my Rogue. I know, but that's probably my two grails I have like readily available right now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Cool. Ooh. Let's look at this.
That is very cool.
Huh.
Yeah, I would say this is probably my favorite piece right now. So I got him for a steal.
I've never seen this. I've literally never seen this. I gotta be honest. I don't know what I'm looking at. You have to talk us through this.
This is the Sumo Raf. He is on the purple back. They only made Raf and Mikey for these guys, but these guys are real hot right now. These are about $1,400 to $1,500 on card.
Wow,
right around there. So, yeah,
Oh.
I got them for a steal about at 300. So,
Ooh,
stoked.
one of those where maybe the seller didn't know what they had. Anyway, Shellback, you had a question, maybe a curveball question for us.
Actually, yeah. So I mentioned one of the guys that are going to be on my channel, Sammy G, who is a seller on Whatnot, and I was wondering. I personally don't go out searching for figures as much as I used to. I've mentioned Macari being one app that I use, but I was wondering, do you guys go on Whatnot and search and buy toys on there?
I don't. I know Jay from Geek Dad Life, I think, has a Whatnot account or a store, and he's mentioned before on his Discord server, but I don't actually go look at Whatnot. To me, it's not in my routine right now, so I have to go out of my way to learn about it. But of course, someday someone's gonna say that figure you always wanted, it's on Whatnot. Go bid.
Yeah,
or something.
I'm the same way. I'm kind of kin there. It'd be a change it to my routine. What I use. I do have a friend who sells on Whatnot, and he's like, "You need to come." I'm like, I know, but
I'll get there eventually.
I'll get there eventually. Yeah, exactly.
All right, cool.
I was just wondering because, like I said, a lot of people like to they prefer searching out in, hunting out in the field and stuff like that, or at toy shows and stuff like that. But me, I've been honestly out here in SoCal, like you were talking about finding, collections and stuff like that. I just do not have any luck at yard sales, at state sales, finding those lots like I used to, and I've just been using Macari and Whatnot, and I just thought I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
With regards to your channel, though, Shellback, sorry to put you on the spot again, but did you end up starting a Patreon for it? Because we were talking a little bit a while ago. So
I did start it. Again, kind of like what you just said. I'm not really used to it and how it works and the content. I can barely put out regular content, let alone special content for somebody, that's paying for it. So still kind of fiddling with the idea a little bit of how to get that going and stuff like that. But
fair enough.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. And everyone's the way they handle that is their mileage is going to vary. Exactly. Some people like Ryan Sweeney, they'll join just because they want to support you, regardless of whether or not they use the benefits. But yeah, you do want the benefits there in the background. And I think, Bobby, I'm sure you probably talked to Travis a little bit about starting one up at some point in time.
Yeah, we've talked about doing Patreon. I know we are. So Trav and I have gotten the channel up to monetization level. So we are doing that. We are getting,
I just realized you had ads for the last couple of months now. So yeah. And I think Shellback, I thought I saw ads in your videos too, like in the last few months here. Right.
Yeah, I just got recently monetized as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I act like I've been monetized for a long time, but it was only a year ago as well. Like I think it was February, actually a month after you and I showed up on Ed's stream, Shellback. That's where
I was just gonna say,
and Payne's, I don't know how much. Actually, that's not true. He's seen my latest early access video, but yeah, he wanted to support. So I appreciate when people join mine as well, but at the same time, some people use the benefits, some people don't.
Yeah.
Right. I do have. I will plug this because it's a bit of a deviation from my normal content, but I did do a history of the A-Team video just recently completed in the last 48 hours. And it's a 16-minute video that I will premiere most likely on Wednesday. So for those in the chat, I'd appreciate it, people viewing that, because it's such a deviation from my normal content. Normally, when I deviate, it doesn't do well. If it's not like Ken ranting about GI Joes, it's like or like doing a Transformers countdown list, it doesn't usually do that well. But we'll see where this one goes, right? Yeah. And what do we got here? What is this toy? 1984 Combat Joe costume Godzilla Kigurumi action figure. I actually don't know what that is, Gazz. You know, you're gonna have to. We'll have to chat on the side about that. And yeah, it is a very specific grail. Sometimes I say something too, and I assume people know what it is, and they're like, "I have no idea what that is, Ken. What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Oh, sorry. You know, rewind 30 seconds, and then we'll go from there." But I do know that Gazz is a big Godzilla and kaiju type of fan. So,
well, then he might. Gazz might like this then.
Yes, you showed me that just as cameras were going.
Yep.
Yeah.
I see.
Wow.
That's cool. Yeah.
Huh.
I got this Godzilla specifically for this gentleman's autograph, and I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah. Well, Bobby, I was kicking the idea around with Travis. You know, we need to get the Toy Kind of Mood crew together, either on here or on there. If we do this time slot, we'll probably do it here. If we can schedule me for a different time slot, we'll do it there. But I thought about doing a Toy Connections kind of mood.
I love that.
I have no idea what we're going to talk about. But it's
Travis would still be down for that too. Yeah.
And
we'd all be down. Yeah, we'd all be down for that.
It's just because Grindhead Jim has his Toy Grinds episodes, and when we got together, we're like, we're going to call it TKO Grinds. You know,
I like that. Yeah.
So we just merged together for a discussion, and we had Largo and Wilhelm were part of that episode. I don't know if they're still in the chat. They were at the beginning. Obi-Wan, the Blitzwave Voltron, like that's an expensive figure. That's a modern grail too, right? A lot of the grails we're talking about are vintage grails, right? Like I always talk about my Diaclone Optimus Prime, which by the way, I just finally completed and got the last Diaclone driver for. Have you ever seen that one in my collection, Bobby?
I have not.
Okay.
I don't think so.
You two talk for a bit. I think I can reach it. You two talk for a second, and then we'll wrap up the stream. But,
okay, great.
I don't drop anything.
While Ken is away, I mean, what is it going like? If I like things I do want, I do want, and I know they're expensive to tell right now, but like my superpowers, my original, I would like to try and find these in box. Those would be grails, like something that like. You know, I probably would have to solve most of my stuff. It would be like original He-Man.
Whoops.
And
okay, I'm okay.
That didn't sound good.
He was like, "I'm good.
No, I'm good." Yeah. My kid thinks I dropped something as well. No, we're good. All right. Sorry about that. Did I cut anybody off? Were you talking about something interesting? Yeah. So this is my Diaclone Battle Convoy. My boys come to see it as well. I won't take it out of the box right now, but I got the last driver for it as well. Now the box is missing a flap on one side. But yeah, this is the original box. The 3 Diaclone drivers that come with it are the ones that make it really unique. You can see the box right here. I won't take them out of the box, but you got the 3 drivers that makes it unique. And of course, all the accessories are in there. And then, sorry, my kid's trying to pester me right now. I'm like, if you're gonna play with your tablet with sound, you got to go over there. Otherwise, the mic will pick up 2 of us talking. So, yeah, you can hear him whining right now. So, so this is finally complete. The foam inside the box is actually a custom. It's not the original foam that came with it. The box is original, but yeah, it's got all the accessories. So this was
nice.
The thing about this toy is what it represents in the history of toys, right? Transformers does not exist if the Diaclone Battle Convoy doesn't come out in Japan first, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm going with this, right? And the thing is, it's not even officially a Transformer. It's the Kara Diaclone, right? But it's the forerunner to it, very much in the way that the Big Jim on the Tiger Trail or the Big Jim Eagle were the forerunners to some of the eventual Mattel Motu stuff. Yeah. So, and you can kind of say the same thing about how the 64 era, the 78 era G.I. Joe was a bit of a forerunner to the A Real American Hero stuff, but that was, they didn't reuse the molds and it was still called G.I. Joe. So it's a little bit different, but yeah. And I'm okay, Jeff Morris. I didn't fall down or anything along those lines. No need to call the ambulance. You'd know because the ambulance would already be here. So yeah, we have a pretty okay health system in Canada.
I'm jealous of y'all.
Yeah, but Yeah, when I did a Holy Grails list, this was my number one.
I don't blame you.
Holy Grail. I'm gonna have to get a custom acrylic case for this thing just because any chance I get to talk about it, I do. Like I'm doing right now. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay.
Very cool.
Well, all right. I think we've we can pretty much call it right here. Did I mess up my camera? I think I did. Yeah. All right. Hey, you're doing the referee wrestling hand signals on me there, Bobby. But listen, everyone in the chat, thank you for joining. Those of you watching on the replay, hope the stream is enjoyable on the second go round as well. But have a look at the links to Shellback Toy Rewind and Toy Kind of Mood. On your way out, subscribe if you already haven't. And I was trying to think of something witty. That's why I started right now. But I think we'll just end the stream by saying, everybody, it's a travesty.
I'm getting a call about this later tonight, dude.
Better you than me. We'll call it right there, gentlemen. Thanks everyone for joining and tuning in.